In every corner of the world, stories of mythical creatures have captivated hearts for centuries. These creatures, some fearsome, others gentle, seem to whisper ancient secrets of a time when the line between reality and fantasy was thin. From dragons soaring through the skies to mermaids lurking beneath the waves, these beings are more than just characters in old tales. They represent the hopes, fears, and mysteries that humanity has carried through the ages. It's easy to understand why people are drawn to these creatures. There's something about the thought of a powerful dragon breathing fire, a graceful unicorn galloping through enchanted forests, or a phoenix rising from its ashes that stirs something deep inside. They make us feel a sense of wonder, reminding us that the world is full of the unknown, and that within the ordinary, there could be something extraordinary waiting to be discovered. Think of the dragon, a creature that can scorch the earth with its fiery breath, yet in many tales, it is also a guardian of untold riches. It embodies both destruction and protection, a force that can be terrifying and majestic at the same time. There's a reason why stories of dragons exist in nearly every culture. Whether in Europe, where they are often seen as dangerous beasts to be slain, or in Asia, where they are revered as wise and noble protectors, dragons remind us of the awe-inspiring power that lies just beyond our understanding. Then there are creatures like the phoenix, whose flames carry a message of renewal. The phoenix doesn't just die, it bursts into flames and is born again from its ashes. It symbolizes hope and rebirth, the idea that even after the darkest times, there's always a chance to rise again. This myth speaks to something deep within the human spirit, the desire to overcome, to transform, and to emerge stronger after facing life's challenges. The story of the phoenix is one of resilience, a reminder that no matter how many times we fall, there's always the possibility of rising again. And what about unicorns? These graceful, horned creatures have come to represent purity and innocence, a symbol of something untouchable, unspoiled by the harshness of the world. In medieval times, the idea of capturing a unicorn was linked to a sense of wonder and the unattainable. People believed only someone pure of heart could come close to such a magical being. There's something heartwarming and bittersweet about that, a creature so beautiful and pure that it's almost too good for this world. Across cultures, these beings hold a certain power over the imagination. They live in stories, yet they feel so real. People told their children about them, and those children grew up to tell their own children the same tales. Each story, whether passed down through generations or whispered in the dead of night, carries with it a sense of magic. Myths about creatures like the mermaid, who lures sailors to their doom with her song, or the griffin, who fiercely guards its treasure, speak to our deepest desires and fears. Mermaids, with their half-human, half-fish form, are especially fascinating. They are often beautiful and alluring, but they are also dangerous. Beneath the surface of the calm sea, they hide the potential for chaos. Their beauty lures sailors into the depths, where they meet their doom. Yet, despite this danger, people are drawn to them. There's something almost haunting about the image of a mermaid, glistening in the moonlight, singing her sad, sweet song, forever a part of the sea but always longing for the world above. The griffin, a creature with the body of a lion and the wings and head of an eagle, is another myth that taps into human emotions. It guards treasures, but not just any treasures, sacred treasures, things that are priceless. It's not just about material wealth, the griffin stands for something greater. It protects what is sacred, what is worth fighting for. Its power is not just in its strength, but in its unwavering dedication to keeping what matters safe. These creatures, in all their forms, are more than just myths. They represent the mystery of life itself. The world is full of things we don't understand, things that make us stop and wonder. Myths about these creatures remind us that there's still magic in the world, even if we can't always see it. They make us believe that, perhaps somewhere out there, beyond the mountains or beneath the sea, these beings might still exist, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. And it's not just about believing in the creatures themselves. It's about believing in something bigger than us. The stories of dragons, unicorns, mermaids, and griffins all carry a deeper message. They remind us of our own strengths and weaknesses, our fears and hopes. They show us that even in a world filled with chaos and uncertainty, there is still magic. It's the kind of magic that doesn't just exist in fairy tales, but in our everyday lives. It's in the way we overcome challenges, protect what we love, and hold on to hope, even when things seem dark. In the end, these mythical creatures have captured our hearts because they reflect the deepest parts of ourselves. Their stories are our stories, their magic our magic. Whether they soar through the skies, swim beneath the waves, or guard the hidden treasures of the earth, they remind us that the world is still full of wonder. And sometimes, that's all we need to keep going. There's something about dragons that stirs the soul. Their immense size, their scales that glisten in the light, their fiery breath that can scorch the earth, they are creatures of awe and fear. For centuries, dragons have captured the imagination of people across the world, and their stories have been passed down through generations. But these stories are not just tales of beasts, they are reflections of the hopes, fears, and dreams that have shaped humanity. In the West, dragons have long been seen as creatures of chaos and destruction. They guard vast treasures, hidden away in dark caves or at the tops of mountains, daring anyone to challenge them. Yet, despite the danger, there is something noble about them. Take Fafnir, for example, the dragon from Norse mythology. Fafnir wasn't always a dragon, he was once a man consumed by greed. His desire for wealth and power transformed him into a beast, one who hoarded gold and treasures beyond imagination. But in the end, it wasn't the treasure that mattered, it was the lesson. Fafnir's story is about the destructive nature of greed, how it can twist a person into something monstrous. He became the very thing he feared, and his tale reminds us of the consequences of letting our desires control us. In contrast, dragons in Eastern mythology are often seen in a more positive light. In China, they are revered as symbols of power, wisdom, and protection. They are not creatures to be feared, but beings to be respected. The Chinese dragon is a force of nature, commanding the rain and bringing fertility to the land. It is said that emperors were once believed to be descendants of dragons, giving them a divine right to rule. These dragons, with their long, serpentine bodies and flowing whiskers, are not creatures of destruction, but of creation. They represent balance and harmony, a reminder that power can be used for good as well as evil. One of the most famous stories of a Chinese dragon is that of the Dragon King. The Dragon King is not just one dragon, but four, each ruling over a sea in the north, south, east, and west. These dragons were seen as protectors of the land, ensuring that the rains would come when needed and that the people would be safe from drought. But the Dragon King could also be fierce, punishing those who did not show respect. In one tale, a young man named Li Bing was tasked with controlling the floods that plagued his village. He knew that the Dragon King was responsible for the waters, so he built a temple to honor the dragon. But the Dragon King did not respond, and the floods continued. In a bold move, Li Bing carved channels through the mountains to redirect the water, showing that while the Dragon King was powerful, human ingenuity could still prevail. The contrast between Eastern and Western dragons is striking. In the West, dragons are often slain by brave heroes, figures like St. George, who famously defeated a dragon to save a village. The story of St. George and the dragon has been told countless times, with the dragon symbolizing evil and chaos, and the hero representing goodness and order. The fight between St. George and the dragon is not just a physical battle but a moral one, a struggle between right and wrong. The dragon's defeat signifies the triumph of good over evil, a theme that resonates deeply in Western mythology. But even in the West, dragons are not always purely evil. In some stories, they are wise and ancient beings, keepers of knowledge that has long been forgotten. In J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, the dragon Smaug is a terrifying force, hoarding treasure in the Lonely Mountain. But Smaug is not just a mindless beast, he is intelligent, cunning, and proud. His conversation with Bilbo Baggins reveals a sharp wit and a sense of superiority. Smaug's downfall comes not because he is evil, but because he underestimates the small, seemingly insignificant hobbit. His arrogance blinds him to the danger, and it is this flaw that leads to his death. In both Eastern and Western cultures, dragons are more than just fire-breathing monsters. They are symbols representing the best and worst of humanity. They embody power, wisdom, greed, and destruction. Their stories teach us about ourselves, about the balance between creation and destruction, about the dangers of unchecked ambition, and about the power of courage in the face of overwhelming odds. But beyond their symbolism, dragons are simply magical. There's something thrilling about the idea of a creature that can fly through the sky, breathing fire and shaking the earth with its roars. Whether feared or revered, dragons remind us of the wonder that exists in the world, of the possibility that there are forces far greater than we can understand. They make us feel small, but in the best possible way, like standing beneath a towering mountain or looking up at a sky full of stars. The legends of dragons have endured for thousands of years because they touch something primal within us. They make us feel the thrill of danger, the excitement of adventure, and the awe of encountering something beyond the ordinary. Dragons are the embodiment of magic itself, a force that is wild, untamable, and endlessly captivating. There's a bird that never truly dies. When its time comes, it doesn't fade away quietly or leave the world with a final breath. Instead, it bursts into flames, burning brighter than the sun, only to rise again from its own ashes. The phoenix is not just a bird, it's a symbol of hope, a promise that no matter how dark things get, there's always the possibility of renewal. The myth of the phoenix has touched hearts for centuries. In times of loss and despair, people have looked to the phoenix for comfort. Its story is one of endurance, reminding us that even in moments of complete destruction, something beautiful can be reborn. The phoenix doesn't fear death, it embraces it, knowing that from the ashes of its old life, a new and stronger version will rise. In ancient Egypt, the phoenix, known as the Bennu, was closely tied to the sun god Ra. Every morning, Ra would carry the sun across the sky, only for it to sink into the darkness of night. But with each dawn, the sun would rise again, reborn. The Egyptians saw the phoenix in the same way, a creature that could die, yet live again, as certain as the rising sun. It was believed that the Bennu lived atop a sacred tree, watching over the world with its radiant beauty. When it sensed the end of its life drawing near, it would build a nest of spices and set itself ablaze. From its ashes, a new Bennu would emerge, continuing the cycle. This theme of rebirth echoes across different cultures. In ancient Greece, the phoenix was seen as a bird of great strength and beauty. It wasn't just about its fiery end, but about the life it lived before that moment. For 500 years, the phoenix would soar through the skies, basking in the warmth of the sun, untouched by the troubles of the world. Then, knowing its time had come, it would return to its nest and prepare for its final act. But what sets the phoenix apart from other creatures is its acceptance of death. It doesn't fight it or try to escape. Instead, it embraces it fully, knowing that the fire is not the end but a new beginning. The Greeks saw the phoenix as a symbol of immortality, not in the sense that it would live forever, but in the idea that it would always return. No matter how many times it died, it would always rise again, stronger than before. This gave people hope, a belief that no matter how many times they fell, they too could rise from their own ashes. In China, the phoenix, or feng is a symbol of balance and harmony. Unlike the Western image of a single bird rising from its ashes, the feng is often depicted as two birds, one male and one female, symbolizing yin and yang. Together, they represent the unity of opposites, the balance of life and death, light and dark, creation and destruction. The Chinese phoenix is not just a creature of fire, but a symbol of peace and prosperity. It was said that the feng would appear only in times of great harmony, when the world was at peace, and its presence was a sign of blessings to come. Yet, no matter the culture, the lesson of the phoenix remains the same. It teaches us that life is a cycle, that for something new to begin, something old must end. There is a quiet beauty in that truth. The phoenix's flames may be fierce, but they are never destructive. They are the flames of transformation, burning away the old to make room for the new. We all face moments in life when it feels like everything is falling apart, like the world is crumbling beneath us. It's easy to feel lost in those moments, to believe that there's no way forward. But the phoenix shows us that even in the darkest of times, there is a path forward. The flames may burn, but from those flames, we can be reborn, stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. The story of the phoenix is a reminder that endings are not failures. They are part of the journey, a necessary step toward growth and transformation. Sometimes, the hardest thing to do is to let go, to allow the old to burn away so that something new can rise. But it is in those moments of letting go that we find our true strength. Just as the phoenix rises from its ashes, we too have the power to rise from the ashes of our own struggles. Life is full of challenges, moments that test us and push us to our limits. But every challenge is an opportunity for growth, for transformation. The fire that burns us does not destroy us, it refines us, making us stronger, more resilient, and more capable of facing whatever comes next. The story of the phoenix is not just a myth about a bird that lives forever. It is a story about hope, resilience, and the power of transformation. It speaks to something deep within the human soul, the belief that no matter how many times we fall, we can always rise again. It is a story that reminds us of the beauty of life cycles, the way that death is not the end, but a new beginning. In the flames of the phoenix, we see ourselves, the parts of us that we must let go, the challenges we must face, and the potential we have to rise from the ashes, reborn and renewed. The fire may seem overwhelming, but it is in that fire that we find our true strength. And just like the phoenix, we will rise again. There's a creature so pure, so rare, that just the thought of it stirs something deep inside us. A being with a single, spiraling horn, eyes full of wisdom, and a presence that seems almost otherworldly. The unicorn has captured hearts for centuries, not because of its magic or beauty, but because it represents something we all long for: innocence, purity, and the untouched wonder of the world. Unicorns aren't just mythical creatures, they are symbols of everything that is good and untainted. When we think of a unicorn, it's hard not to feel a sense of awe. Their very existence and legend makes us believe that maybe, just maybe, there's something in this world that is still untouched by darkness. Their shimmering white coats, their graceful movements, their gentle nature, it's as if they carry with them the hope that goodness still prevails. Throughout history, unicorns have been seen as creatures of innocence, and perhaps that's why people have always been so obsessed with them. In medieval times, there was a near obsession with the idea of capturing a unicorn. These majestic creatures, however, were not just wild animals to be hunted, they were believed to represent purity itself. The legend said that only a maiden, pure and untouched, could lure a unicorn close enough to be captured. The unicorn, sensing her innocence, would lay its head in her lap, trusting her completely. But the obsession with capturing a unicorn wasn't just about possessing the animal itself. It was about holding onto something that was slipping away, innocence in a world growing more complicated and dark. The unicorn represented everything that was good and true, and by capturing one, it was as if people could hold on to that goodness forever. The medieval tapestries that still hang in museums today, showing unicorns in lush gardens or being tamed by maidens, aren't just works of art. They are visual expressions of a longing, a need to capture something pure in a world that often feels anything but. The unicorn in those tapestries seems almost too perfect to be real, yet there it is, woven into the fabric as a reminder that such beauty, such innocence, once existed, and maybe still does. Unicorns have also been central to stories that reflect this same longing for purity. In many tales, they are seen as protectors of forests, creatures that live in harmony with nature and guard the balance of life. Their magic is not about casting spells or wielding power, it's about their very presence being enough to keep the world in balance. In these stories, the loss of a unicorn is more than just the loss of a creature, it is the loss of something sacred, something irreplaceable. In literature, the unicorn often serves as a symbol of the unattainable. It is the thing that can never be fully captured or understood. In C.S. Lewis's The Chronicles of Narnia, the unicorn Jewel is one of the noblest and bravest creatures, standing by King Tyrion's side during the final battle. Jewel represents loyalty, purity of heart, and the willingness to fight for what is right, even when the odds seem impossible. In J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, unicorns are creatures whose blood can keep a person alive, but at a terrible cost. To slay a unicorn is to destroy innocence itself, and those who do so are cursed for life. And then there is the unicorn that lives in the hearts of children, a symbol of magic and wonder. In modern pop culture, unicorns are everywhere, from toys to movies to books. But the version of the unicorn we see today, often covered in rainbows and sparkles, is still rooted in that ancient idea of purity and innocence. Even in this playful form, the unicorn reminds us that there is something precious in the world, something worth protecting. The reason unicorns have endured for so long in art and culture is that they speak to a part of us that longs for purity, for goodness, for a world that is simple and full of wonder. They remind us that even though the world can be hard and unforgiving, there are still things worth believing in. There are still things that are untouchable, pure, and beautiful. When we think of a unicorn, we can't help but feel a sense of nostalgia for a time we never lived in, a time when the world was simpler, when innocence was not something to be protected, but something that just was. The unicorn makes us feel that even though the world may have changed, that innocence is not entirely lost. It lives on, in stories, in art, and in the hearts of those who still believe. And that's the magic of the unicorn. It's not just a creature from myth, it's a symbol of everything we hope for. It represents the purity that we wish existed in the world, the goodness we want to believe in, and the magic that makes life a little more beautiful. Whether we see it in a medieval tapestry, a children's book, or a painting, the unicorn is a reminder that there is still something pure in the world, something untouched by the darkness. The sea has always held a mystery that tugs at the soul, a place where beauty and danger dance together in the depths. And in these dark, glittering waters live beings that are as enchanting as they are terrifying. Mermaids and sirens, with their captivating voices and haunting beauty, have lured sailors to their doom for centuries, leaving behind tales of wonder and fear. It begins with a song. A melody so sweet, it feels like it reaches deep into your chest and pulls your heart out to sea. You can almost see the waves rising, shimmering under the sun as the voice beckons you closer. There's something about it you can't resist, something that makes you forget everything else. And that's how it happens, how countless souls have been lost to the ocean's siren call. Mermaids, with their flowing hair, shimmering tails, and eyes full of the unknown, have long been seen as creatures that exist between two worlds. They are part human, part sea, and that's what makes them so fascinating. To those who gaze upon them, they appear as something out of a dream, beautiful, mysterious, untouchable. But beneath that beauty, there's always something more, a sense that these creatures, with their songs and smiles, are not what they seem. In some tales, mermaids are gentle beings, protectors of the sea who guide lost sailors to safety. They are seen as symbols of love and compassion, longing for the connection to the human world that they can never fully have. But in other stories, they are far more dangerous. Their beauty hides a dark intent, a desire to pull those who come too close into the depths of the ocean, never to be seen again. It's this dual nature of the mermaid, both enchanting and deadly, that makes her so unforgettable. But if mermaids are the gentle pull of the sea, sirens are its wild, untamed voice. Sirens don't just call to you, they demand your attention. Their songs don't offer a choice. They are meant to capture, to draw you in so completely that escape is impossible. Unlike the mermaid, who can sometimes be kind, the siren's goal is always destruction. And yet, even knowing this, sailors have been unable to resist their calls. In Greek mythology, the sirens are perhaps best known from the Odyssey, where Odysseus, bound to the mast of his ship, hears their haunting song. As their voices fill the air, promising him knowledge and desire, it's clear that even Odysseus, wise and cunning, can barely resist. His men, ears stuffed with wax, row furiously, unable to hear the sweet promises that drift on the wind. But Odysseus? He listens, desperate to go to them, even though he knows the price. It's a moment that captures the essence of the sirens, creatures that represent temptation at its most dangerous, offering everything you've ever wanted, even as they lead you to your doom. Mermaids and sirens may both live in the sea, but their stories tell us different things. The mermaid is a creature of duality, torn between the world of the ocean and the world of man, often reflecting our own human desire for things just out of reach. She is both kind and cruel, gentle and deadly, just like the sea itself. But the siren? The siren is pure danger, wrapped in a voice so sweet it's impossible to resist. Throughout history, these creatures have fascinated us not just because of their beauty, but because they represent the power of the unknown. The sea, with its depths and darkness, is a place where humans have always felt vulnerable. And mermaids and sirens are its embodiment, creatures that draw us in with promises of love and safety, only to remind us that the sea answers to no one. The line between mermaids and sirens is often blurred, and perhaps that's why they both remain such powerful figures in mythology. Mermaids, though sometimes dangerous, offer a glimpse of something pure, something that longs to be understood. They are the creatures of the shore, where the sea meets the land, offering love and danger in equal measure. Sirens, on the other hand, are the wild force of the deep sea, calling sailors to their end with no chance of escape. Yet, both remind us of the same truth, that the sea, and the creatures that live within it, are forces we cannot control. From the Odyssey to tales whispered by sailors throughout history, these creatures have always been with us, lurking in the corners of our imagination. The mermaid's sad eyes, the siren's deadly song, they are part of the sea's magic, reminding us that even in its beauty, the ocean can never be tamed. Even today, the allure of mermaids and sirens continues to captivate us. In modern tales, from movies to books, these creatures still sing their haunting songs, still swim through our dreams. The mermaid's beauty and the siren's danger are things we cannot resist, because they speak to the deepest parts of ourselves, the parts that long for beauty, for love, for something beyond the ordinary. But they also remind us that some things are not meant to be touched, that the most beautiful things can also be the most dangerous. The call of the sea, the voices of the mermaids and sirens, it's a call that has echoed through time. It's a call that promises beauty, wonder, and danger, all at once. And for those who hear it, there's no turning back. The sea claims who it will, and its creatures, with their haunting songs and shimmering tales, remain as enchanting and deadly as they've ever been. In the shadows of ancient mountains and deep in forgotten lands, a creature with the strength of a lion and the majesty of an eagle stands guard over treasures untold. Its golden feathers glisten in the sun, and its sharp eyes see far into the distance. This is the griffin, a creature of unmatched power, grace, and mystery. Wherever the griffin is, there is something precious hidden, something so valuable that only a being of its might can protect it. With the body of a lion and the wings and head of an eagle, the griffin embodies the fierce power of the king of the beasts and the noble freedom of the skies. To see one is to feel a shiver down your spine, not just because of its ferocity, but because of what it represents. Griffins were never ordinary creatures. They stood as guardians of sacred realms and treasures that mortals could only dream of. Their presence alone was enough to keep those who would dare to steal from even thinking about approaching. In ancient Greece and Persia, the legends of griffins were whispered with awe. They were said to guard the divine treasures of the gods, hidden away in secret places that only a griffin would know. Their loyalty to these treasures was absolute. There was nothing more important to them than protecting what had been entrusted to their care. They would fight to the death, and their strength was said to be unmatched. A lion's powerful body gave them the endurance to stand their ground, while the eagle's wings allowed them to strike swiftly from the skies. Anyone foolish enough to attempt to steal from them would be met with a swift and terrible end. In Greece, it was believed that the griffins guarded gold hidden in the farthest reaches of the world. Travelers spoke of seeing griffins perched high upon cliffs, watching over hidden riches that no man could ever touch. Their piercing eyes seemed to see into the very soul of anyone who came near. Many believed that even the thought of stealing from a griffin would bring down a curse so powerful that no one would survive. The ancient Persians, too, revered the griffin as a protector of divine treasures. It wasn't just gold or jewels they protected, but treasures of the spirit, sacred wisdom, knowledge, and power that were beyond the reach of ordinary humans. What made the griffin so feared and respected was not just its role as a guardian, but the sheer force it brought to bear. The strength of a lion, combined with the agility of an eagle, made the griffin nearly invincible. Its claws could tear through armor, and its beak could crush bones. Yet for all its strength, there was something majestic and awe-inspiring about the griffin. To see it soaring through the sky, wings outstretched, was to witness a creature that belonged to both the earth and the heavens. Its fierce protection of treasures made it a symbol of loyalty and strength, while its ability to soar above the clouds connected it to the divine. Stories of griffins often spoke of their fierce battles against those who tried to steal what they guarded. No matter how skilled or brave the thief, the griffin's strength and determination always prevailed. In some tales, even the bravest of heroes would hesitate before challenging a griffin. It wasn't just the physical danger that frightened them, but the sense that to face a griffin was to face something far greater than themselves, something that was not meant to be conquered. There was an unspoken understanding that the treasures they guarded were not for human hands, and those who attempted to claim them would pay a terrible price. Yet despite their ferocity, griffins were not creatures of chaos or destruction. They stood for protection, for the preservation of what was sacred and valuable. In a world where so much was uncertain, the griffin represented a force that could be relied upon, a force that would never waver in its duty. Their loyalty was absolute, and their strength unmatched. They reminded the people of ancient times that some things are beyond the reach of human desire, that there are treasures too precious to be claimed. As time went on, the image of the griffin continued to inspire awe and wonder. It appeared in art, in carvings and tapestries, its powerful form a symbol of protection and strength. Kings and warriors admired the griffin, hoping to embody even a fraction of its might and courage. For centuries, the griffin remained a symbol of something that stood apart from the world of men, something fierce, beautiful, and untouchable. To this day, the legend of the griffin endures. Though the treasures it guards may be hidden far from human eyes, its presence can still be felt in the stories that are told. It's a reminder that some forces in the world cannot be controlled, that some creatures stand as protectors of what is too sacred to be touched. And though we may never see a griffin with our own eyes, the strength and majesty it represents continues to inspire and captivate. In the depths of ancient myths, there exists a creature whose very name brings a shiver down the spine, the basilisk. Unlike other beasts that roar and claw, the basilisk doesn't need to make a sound. With just one look, it can turn you to stone. It doesn't need to chase or fight, its power lies in its deadly gaze. To meet the eyes of this creature is to face death itself. For centuries, the basilisk has been a symbol of fear, a silent and still reminder that sometimes the greatest dangers are the ones you cannot see coming. Legends of the basilisk are filled with dread and awe. Known as the Serpent King, this creature was said to have the body of a serpent but a crown-like crest on its head, marking it as a ruler among serpents. But it wasn't just its appearance that made the basilisk feared, it was its power. No creature in the wild, no matter how strong, could survive its gaze. Even plants withered under its sight, and the ground it slithered across became poisoned. In the medieval world, where people believed that the unseen forces of darkness lurked around every corner, the basilisk was not just a creature, it was a nightmare come to life. Stories were told of people who ventured into caves or dark forests, only to freeze in place, their faces locked in terror, turned to stone by the basilisk's gaze. Others, fearing the serpent's breath or its venomous bite, would never dare go near places rumored to be its home. But it was the basilisk's gaze that was most terrifying. It wasn't just the idea of dying, it was the thought of dying without even a chance to fight back. To lock eyes with the basilisk meant that your fate was sealed in that instant. No amount of strength or skill could save you. The sense of helplessness, the realization that one look could take everything from you, was what made the basilisk so feared. In the dark corners of medieval towns, where fear often grew in the shadows, tales of the basilisk spread like wildfire. People whispered of its presence in the black of night. Some said it could kill with a glance even from a reflection, that to see it in a mirror would bring the same death as seeing it in person. This idea took root in the hearts of the fearful, as they covered their windows and carried charms to ward off what could not be fought. Yet, there was more to the basilisk than just death. It was also a symbol, a representation of the dangers that lurk just out of sight, the ones that strike without warning. The basilisk became a metaphor for fear itself, for the unknown that could destroy lives in an instant. It stood as a reminder that not all threats are loud or obvious, some are silent and waiting, just like the Serpent King in the shadows. As people began to understand the basilisk, they saw that it wasn't just a creature of brute force or terrifying strength. It was a being that represented the deepest, most primal fears. The fear of being powerless, the fear of facing something that cannot be fought or reasoned with. The basilisk's eyes became the eyes of fear itself, staring into the souls of those who dared to acknowledge it. There were stories of knights who tried to slay the basilisk, only to fall victim to its deadly gaze before they could raise their swords. But there were also tales of those who found ways to defeat it. One legend tells of a brave soul who faced the basilisk using a mirror, tricking it into looking at its own reflection. In that moment, the basilisk was destroyed by the very power it used to control others. This story gave people hope that even the deadliest of creatures, even the deepest of fears, could be overcome. But still, the legend of the basilisk endured. It lingered in the minds of those who lived in fear, and even today, the idea of the basilisk stirs something within us. It reminds us that danger doesn't always come with a roar or a warning. Sometimes, it's quiet, waiting, ready to strike when we least expect it. The basilisk, with its lethal gaze and its terrifying presence, stands as a symbol of all that we fear but cannot face. It is the embodiment of the unknown dangers that threaten to take everything from us without a sound. And while many of its tales may have been exaggerated or embellished, the fear it represents is very real. The basilisk teaches us that sometimes, it's not the beast we can see that we should fear most, but the one that watches us in silence, waiting for us to meet its gaze. There is something both captivating and haunting about the centaur, a creature caught between two worlds. With the body of a horse and the torso of a man, the centaur's very form tells a story. It's the embodiment of a struggle that has echoed through the ages, the clash between human intellect and the raw, untamed wildness that lives within us all. This creature stands at the crossroads of reason and instinct, a reminder that beneath our thoughts and words, there is something primal, something fierce that cannot be easily tamed. The centaur's horse body symbolizes freedom, a wild spirit that runs with the wind, untethered and unchained. Horses have always been creatures of great strength, speed, and independence, roaming the vast lands with no master. They represent the unrestrained power of nature, and in the centaur, this power is fused with the reasoning mind of a man. But that fusion is far from perfect. It creates a tension, a constant pull between the calm logic of the human and the wild force of the beast. In ancient tales, centaurs were often portrayed as wild and unruly, creatures who could not control their desires. They were known to be impulsive, their tempers quick to ignite, leading to chaos and destruction. These centaurs were feared, not just for their strength, but for their unpredictability. They were capable of great violence, driven by passions that no reason could control. And yet, they weren't evil. They were simply the embodiment of nature's untamed side, the part of ourselves that acts on impulse and emotion rather than thought. But there was one centaur who stood apart from the rest, Chiron. Unlike the others, Chiron was wise, patient, and noble. He wasn't ruled by his wild side. Instead, he became a teacher, a healer, a mentor to many of the greatest heroes of Greek mythology. Chiron represents what we can achieve when we bring balance to our dual nature. He found a way to harmonize the wildness of his horse body with the wisdom of his human mind, and in doing so, he became a symbol of what it means to rise above the chaos of our instincts. Yet, Chiron's story is not one of endless triumph. His life, though filled with knowledge and purpose, ends in tragedy. Chiron was immortal, unable to die, but fate dealt him a cruel hand. One day, he was accidentally struck by a poisoned arrow, an arrow coated with the venom of the Hydra. The pain was unbearable, and though he could not die, Chiron was left to suffer eternally. In his agony, Chiron faced a choice. He could live forever in torment, or he could give up his immortality and pass into death. Choosing the latter, Chiron made the ultimate sacrifice. He gave up his eternal life so that Prometheus, the titan who had given fire to mankind, could be freed from his punishment. Chiron's decision was a final act of selflessness, a reflection of his deep wisdom and compassion. His story touches the heart, because in Chiron we see not just a mythical figure, but the struggle of every person who seeks to rise above their base instincts. We feel his pain, not just from the physical wound, but from the internal battle he fought all his life, to be more than the wildness that threatened to consume him. In his death, Chiron became a constellation, his image immortalized in the stars as a reminder of the dual nature that defines us all. Centaurs, through their form and stories, remind us of the constant push and pull between two worlds, the world of thought and the world of instinct. We are beings of reason, capable of incredible intellect, but we are also creatures of passion, driven by emotions that can overwhelm us. The centaur is not just a symbol of a mythical creature, it is a reflection of the human experience. We all carry within us that same tension, that same conflict between the desire to be rational and the urge to act on impulse. The wild nature of the centaur is not something to be feared or suppressed. It is a part of who we are. Without it, we lose our connection to the natural world, to the raw emotions that drive us to feel deeply, to act passionately. But, like Chiron, we also need the balance that comes with wisdom, the ability to channel that wildness in ways that bring strength and clarity. The centaur's form may be a mix of human and beast, but its story is deeply human. It speaks to the heart of what it means to be alive, to struggle, to feel, to fight the pull of our baser instincts while recognizing that they are a part of us. In the end, the centaur is a reminder that the wildness inside us doesn't need to be feared. It can be embraced, but only when guided by the wisdom of the mind. In the quiet stillness of the forest, when the light of day fades and shadows begin to dance among the trees, there's a feeling that something else stirs beneath the leaves. A flicker in the corner of your eye, a soft rustle in the distance, this is the world of fairies and elves. These magical beings, born from the deepest corners of folklore, hold a charm that pulls at the heart. They are the keepers of mystery, the tricksters who blur the line between what is real and what is imagined, reminding us that the world is not always what it seems. Fairies are creatures that bring both wonder and unease. Small, delicate, and shimmering with an ethereal glow, they move silently through the forest, their wings catching the light of the moon. But their beauty hides something far more complex. Fairies have never been simply kind or gentle. In many tales, they are mischievous and unpredictable, capable of great kindness one moment and startling cruelty the next. Their magic is wild and untamed, and those who encounter them often find themselves caught up in a game they cannot control. The old stories speak of fairies who would lead travelers astray, luring them deeper and deeper into the woods until they were hopelessly lost. Sometimes, these travelers would be returned, unharmed but forever changed. Other times, they were never seen again, swallowed by the forest and the enchantments that lay within. Fairies were not to be trusted, no matter how enchanting their laughter or how inviting their smile. Elves, too, have always held a place in the human imagination. Taller, more graceful than their fairy cousins, elves were often seen as guardians of the forest. They lived in hidden realms, places untouched by human hands, where the air was thick with magic. Elves were wise, but their wisdom came with a distance, a coldness that set them apart from the mortal world. They watched humanity with curiosity, but also with a sense of superiority, for they were creatures of an older, more perfect world. But for all their grace and wisdom, elves were not without their own mischief. In many tales, elves would play tricks on humans, testing their wits and their courage. Sometimes, these tricks were harmless, a bit of fun at the expense of a foolish traveler. But other times, the stakes were higher. Elves could be merciless when provoked, their punishments swift and harsh. They were not bound by human morality, and their sense of justice was as unpredictable as the wind through the trees. In these tales, there is always a sense of the unknown. Fairies and elves represent the wildness that lives in the heart of nature, the forces we cannot see or understand, but that shape the world around us. They remind us that the forest, for all its beauty, is a place of danger, where magic runs deep and unseen eyes watch from the shadows. But while these beings once filled our ancestors with fear and awe, they have evolved over time. In the stories of old, fairies and elves were beings to be respected, even feared. Now, they have taken on new roles, reshaped by modern imagination into symbols of beauty, wisdom, and grace. In today's world, fairies are often seen as gentle, protective spirits, fluttering through gardens and meadows, bringing magic and joy. They have become figures of light, stripped of the darker edges that once made them so terrifying. Elves, too, have transformed. No longer the distant, aloof creatures of ancient tales, they have become heroes in countless modern stories. With their pointed ears and ageless beauty, elves now stand as symbols of strength and wisdom. They are the protectors of the natural world, fighting to preserve the magic of the earth from those who would destroy it. In literature and film, elves are often portrayed as noble and good, their once hidden realms now places of wonder and peace. Yet, even in these modern depictions, there lingers a trace of the old magic. There is still something otherworldly about these beings, something that reminds us they are not like us. Fairies, for all their charm, still have the power to unsettle. Elves, for all their nobility, remain distant, their wisdom beyond our reach. And in this lies their enduring appeal. They are creatures of both light and shadow, beings who live between worlds, at once familiar and deeply mysterious. There is a certain magic in their mischief, a reminder that not everything in life can be explained or controlled. The tricks they play, the spells they cast, are not meant to harm, but to remind us that the world is full of wonder and uncertainty. Fairies and elves, with their enchanting laughter and secretive smiles, ask us to look beyond the surface, to see the magic that lies hidden in the everyday. For those who encounter them, whether in ancient folklore or modern tales, fairies and elves remain a mystery. They are the whisper in the wind, the flicker of movement just beyond sight. They are the keepers of the forest, the guardians of a world that is both beautiful and dangerous. And as long as their stories continue to be told, the magic they bring will never fade. There's a creature of nightmares that roams the dark corners of ancient mythologies, its form a grotesque collage of terror. This is the chimera, a beast so fearsome and unnatural that it embodies chaos itself. Born from the twisted imagination of ancient Greek storytellers, the chimera is a fusion of multiple animals, its body a nightmarish blend of lion, goat, and serpent, each part a living symbol of power and menace. The chimera's lion head roars with a primal fury, a symbol of raw strength and dominance. It's fierce and regal, commanding respect and fear. But attached to its back, the head of a goat emerges, its eyes cold and unfeeling. The goat's head bleats ominously, a symbol of stubbornness and unpredictability. As if that were not enough, a serpent's head curls at the end of its tail, its venomous fangs ready to strike with deadly precision. This combination is not just a monster, it's a living emblem of confusion and terror. Every part of the chimera represents something more than mere animal traits. The lion's roar is a call to primal fear, the goat's bleat signifies an unsettling presence, and the serpent's hiss is a whisper of hidden danger. Together, they form a creature that defies comprehension, a being so chaotic and unpredictable that it embodies the very essence of nightmare. The chimera is not a single threat but a trio of fears, each head a different kind of terror, merging into one monstrous whole. In ancient Greek art and literature, the chimera is often depicted with its 3 heads, each one showcasing its own distinct animal characteristics. The beast is shown spewing flames from its lion's mouth, a representation of destructive power. The goat's head adds an element of eerie, unnatural calm, while the serpent's head coils with a menacing grace. This monstrous amalgamation captures the imagination, a visual representation of the chaos that the Greeks feared and sought to control. But the chimera's symbolism extends beyond its physical form. It stands as a metaphor for the unpredictable nature of the world, a world where danger can come from unexpected places and where the worst fears are often those we cannot fully understand or anticipate. The chimera is not just a monster, it is the embodiment of everything that can go wrong when the natural order is upended. It represents a world in which the familiar becomes unfamiliar, where the lines between reality and nightmare blur. In mythology, the chimera is often portrayed as a formidable adversary, a creature that heroes must overcome to prove their worth. The hero Bellerophon, riding the winged horse Pegasus, battles the chimera and emerges victorious, but not without great struggle. This story captures the essence of human courage facing the unpredictable and the monstrous. The battle with the Chimera is more than a physical confrontation. It is a symbolic fight against chaos itself, a struggle to bring order to a world that is fundamentally wild and unruly. The Chimera's legacy lives on, not just in the myths of old, but in the way it continues to haunt the human imagination. It represents the fear of the unknown and the terror of confronting something that cannot be easily understood or controlled. This monstrous hybrid reminds us that chaos is always lurking just beneath the surface of the known world, ready to rise up and disrupt our lives. The Chimera, with its horrifying combination of lion, goat, and serpent, is more than just a mythical creature. It is a reflection of our deepest fears. It embodies the chaos that lies at the heart of the world, the unpredictability that we can never fully escape. As long as there are nightmares to be feared and battles to be fought, the Chimera will remain a potent symbol of the dark, chaotic forces that shape our world. In the quiet corners of ancient tales, there's a story of a creature born from nothing but earth and human will. This is the golem, a being of clay, brought to life by the power of human words and dreams. The legend of the golem is both fascinating and chilling, a story of creation that walks the thin line between protection and peril. Picture a figure sculpted from lifeless clay, its form roughly shaped by hands determined to create something extraordinary. This figure, at first just a block of earth, is imbued with life through sacred rituals and mystical words. The golem emerges from this process, a creature that, while not truly alive, moves with the semblance of life. It stands as a testament to the power of human creativity, a symbol of what can be achieved through sheer will. But with this power comes danger. The golem is a being shaped by human hands, but animated by divine or magical means. It is both a protector and a potential threat. In the Jewish myth, the golem is often created to defend against persecution or to serve a noble cause. Yet, despite its origins as a force for good, the golem can become unpredictable. Without a guiding intelligence or a true understanding of the world, it might act in ways that were not intended. The very traits that make it powerful also make it dangerous. The connection between the golem and human ambition is profound and unsettling. Creating a golem is a manifestation of the deepest desires and fears of its creator. It reflects the human urge to harness power, to mold the world according to our wishes. But it also exposes the peril of overreaching, of trying to control forces beyond our understanding. The golem, in its silent, imposing presence, reminds us that with great power comes great responsibility, and that even the best intentions can lead to unforeseen consequences. In the legends, the golem often starts as a protector, a force summoned to safeguard a community or to defend against evil. It is a clay sentinel, standing watch over those it was created to protect. This role is a testament to the golem's original purpose, to be a guardian, to embody the hope and security of its creators. But as the golem moves and acts, it begins to take on a life of its own, its actions no longer perfectly aligned with the intentions of those who created it. The fear that accompanies the golem's story lies in this very unpredictability. What starts as a solution to a problem can quickly become a new problem itself. The golem, lacking true understanding or empathy, might misinterpret commands or act in ways that cause harm. It embodies the notion that our creations, while powerful, are not always under our complete control. The golem also highlights a deeply human struggle, the tension between creation and destruction. The power to bring something into existence from nothing is a remarkable feat, but it also carries the potential for disaster. The golem is a reflection of our own ambitions and fears, a reminder of the thin line between innovation and catastrophe. It shows how our desire to shape the world can lead to unintended consequences, and how even the most carefully crafted creations can turn against us. In the end, the story of the golem is a powerful one. It speaks to the limits of human power and the complexities of creation. It reminds us that even the most carefully constructed plans can unravel, and that the forces we seek to control can sometimes control us instead. The golem stands as a monument to human ambition, a figure born from clay that brings to life both our dreams and our deepest anxieties. Under the cover of night, when shadows stretch long and dark, the legend of the werewolf comes alive, a creature torn between two worlds, forever cursed to roam the space between man and beast. This is not just a tale of transformation, but a story of the deepest fears of losing one's humanity. The werewolf legend is a chilling reminder of what happens when primal instincts take over the fragile veneer of civilization. The image of a werewolf is a powerful one, a person who, under the influence of the full moon, morphs into a monstrous wolf or wolf-like creature. This transformation isn't just physical, it represents a profound psychological change. Imagine someone you know, a friend, a loved one, transforming before your eyes into a creature that is no longer recognizable. The terror lies in the loss of control and the fear that the beast within could break free at any moment. In folklore, the curse of becoming a werewolf is often portrayed as a punishment for some grave sin or moral failing. The transformation is not voluntary, it's an uncontrollable force, a nightmarish fate that brings the curse-bearer into a world of violence and darkness. The werewolf is driven by primal instincts, its human emotions and thoughts drowned out by the overpowering need to hunt and kill. This dichotomy between human and beast creates a deep psychological horror, the fear of being overtaken by one's darker side and losing one's sense of self. Throughout history, werewolf tales have surfaced in various cultures, each adding its own layer to the myth. In medieval Europe, tales of werewolves often involved accusations of witchcraft and devilry. Those who were believed to be werewolves were sometimes subjected to horrific trials and executions. These stories reflect a deep-seated fear of the unknown and a tendency to scapegoat individuals who didn't fit within the norms of society. One of the most famous werewolf tales is that of the Beast of Gévaudan, a monstrous creature that terrorized the French province of Gévaudan in the 18th century. Descriptions of the beast were chilling, with accounts of it attacking and killing numerous people, its appearance varying from a wolf to something more terrifying. The fear and confusion that surrounded this creature became a symbol of the uncontrollable nature of the werewolf legend, a beast that strikes fear into the heart of every community it touches. In the folklore of other cultures, such as those of Scandinavia and the Slavic regions, werewolves also appear as symbols of both fear and fascination. Norse mythology tells of warriors who could transform into wolves during battle, using the beast's strength and ferocity to their advantage. Meanwhile, Slavic tales often depict werewolves as cursed individuals who struggle against their monstrous nature, reflecting a universal fear of losing one's humanity and being at the mercy of darker instincts. The werewolf legend taps into a primal fear, the terror of losing control and becoming something monstrous. The transformation into a werewolf is not just a change in physical form, but a profound shift in identity. It represents the darkest aspects of human nature taking over, a force that can overwhelm even the most rational and controlled individual. The fear of being consumed by one's darker side is something that resonates deeply with us all. The tales of werewolves serve as a powerful reminder of the thin line that separates civilization from savagery. They explore the primal fears of losing control and the horror of becoming something beyond human understanding. Each story, whether set in medieval Europe or ancient Scandinavia, reflects a shared anxiety about the darkness that lurks within us all, waiting for the right moment to emerge. In the whispers of ancient sands and the shadows of towering ruins, the Sphinx stands as an enigma, a creature both majestic and terrifying. With the body of a lion and the head of a human, this mythical guardian has captivated imaginations for centuries. It is not merely a figure of stone, but a symbol of the profound mysteries that have intrigued humanity throughout history. The Sphinx appears in two distinct but equally haunting forms, Egyptian and Greek. In Egypt, it guards the Great Pyramids, its imposing figure a testament to the grandeur and mystery of the ancient world. Its purpose was not only to intimidate, but to protect the sacred grounds from intruders. The Sphinx, in this context, is a symbol of divine power, a sentinel that watches over the eternal resting places of the pharaohs. The Greek Sphinx, on the other hand, presents a more complex and chilling image. This creature is known for its riddles, which it posed to travelers. The most famous story involves the Sphinx's riddle and its encounter with Oedipus. According to the tale, the Sphinx terrorized the city of Thebes, posing a riddle to all who passed by. what walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? Those who failed to answer correctly were devoured, their lives claimed by the creature's insatiable hunger. The riddle itself is a profound and unsettling one, touching upon the nature of human existence. The answer, man, represents the stages of life, crawling as a baby, walking as an adult, and using a cane in old age. By solving the riddle, Oedipus not only saved his own life, but also freed Thebes from the Sphinx's grasp. The Sphinx, thus, embodies the peril of ignorance and the profound power of knowledge. Its riddles are not merely puzzles, but gateways to understanding the deeper truths of life and existence. The Sphinx's role as a guardian of knowledge is both fascinating and eerie. It stands as a symbol of the thin boundary between wisdom and danger. The creature's riddles are not just tests of intellect, but also reflections of the fear and reverence people hold for the unknown. The Sphinx guards the threshold between the known and the unknown, challenging those who seek to pass through with questions that probe the very essence of human life. This image of the Sphinx, a being that combines beauty with dread, wisdom with peril, touches on a fundamental human fear, the fear of facing truths that are too profound or too daunting to comprehend. The Sphinx's riddles represent not just a test of intelligence, but a confrontation with the deepest aspects of our own nature. To solve them is to gain insight and overcome the unknown. To fail is to fall victim to the dark, inscrutable forces that lie beyond. In both Egyptian and Greek traditions, the Sphinx embodies a powerful, almost otherworldly force. It is a creature of mystery, a symbol of the challenges that come with seeking knowledge. Its presence evokes a mix of awe and fear, reflecting the profound impact that such myths have had on human consciousness. The Sphinx's story is not merely one of myth, but a reflection of our own struggles with the unknown, our quest for understanding, and the ever-present shadow of our deepest fears. In the dark corners of history and folklore, the vampire lurks, an immortal creature that haunts our nightmares and our imaginations. These beings, who rise from their graves to feast on the blood of the living, have become icons of fear and fascination. Their legend stretches back to ancient cultures, where they were believed to be malevolent spirits or undead beings that defied the natural order. The earliest vampire myths often stem from a time when death was shrouded in mystery and fear. In ancient Greece and Rome, there were tales of demonic entities and restless spirits that would rise from their graves to torment the living. These early vampires were not yet the sophisticated creatures of later tales, but were instead monstrous figures that embodied the dread of death itself. As cultures evolved, so did the vampire legend. In medieval Europe, vampire lore became deeply intertwined with fears of disease and death. The vampire was often blamed for the unexplained deaths and plagues that swept through communities. It was said that these creatures, with their ghastly appearance and insatiable thirst for blood, were responsible for the suffering of entire villages. The image of the vampire grew darker, reflecting the anxieties of a time when death was sudden and unexplainable. Yet, as centuries passed, the vampire story began to shift. The once feared creature started to take on new forms, reflecting changing societal attitudes. The vampire's portrayal moved from that of a horrifying monster to one that was more complex and even alluring. This transformation began in the 19th century with the publication of Bram Stoker's Dracula. The novel introduced a vampire who was both terrifying and charismatic, a being of profound evil, yet capable of deep emotion and intelligence. Dracula set the stage for a new kind of vampire, a creature that was not just a monster, but a tragic figure with a seductive charm. This shift continued into the 20th century and beyond, as vampires became central figures in a wide range of stories, from horror to romance. They were no longer just symbols of death and disease, but were reimagined as beings struggling with their own eternal existence. Modern depictions of vampires often explore their inner conflicts and desires. In stories like Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice and the Twilight series by Stephanie Meyer, vampires are portrayed as complex characters who grapple with their immortality and their need for human blood. These tales humanize the vampire, making them figures of sympathy and sometimes even romantic heroes. The vampire's eternal life becomes a metaphor for the struggles and desires that all humans face, making them both relatable and fascinating. This evolution of the vampire legend reflects a broader shift in how we understand fear and desire. Where once vampires were purely objects of terror, they have become symbols of the forbidden and the eternal. They embody our deepest fears about death and immortality, yet also our longing for eternal life and unfulfilled desires. Through the ages, the vampire has transformed from a ghastly specter into a complex symbol of human emotion. From ancient fears of the undead to modern tales of tragic romance, the vampire continues to captivate and haunt our imaginations, reflecting both our deepest fears and our greatest desires. In the murky depths of the ocean, where light fades and shadows reign, the kraken looms, a colossal sea monster that has haunted sailors' nightmares for centuries. Picture a beast of unimaginable size, with tentacles stretching out like serpents of the abyss, ready to pull ships and sailors alike into the dark, churning waters below. The very thought of such a creature is enough to send shivers down your spine. The legend of the Kraken, a name that evokes the essence of ancient fears, is more than just a tale of terror. It is rooted in the experiences of those who ventured into the unknown. The Kraken is said to emerge from the depths to wreak havoc on unsuspecting ships. Its massive tentacles, each capable of crushing wood and flesh, wrap around vessels, dragging them into the watery grave. Sailors described the monster's emergence as a monstrous, swirling maelstrom, a sign of the Kraken's deadly presence beneath the waves. Historical accounts and sightings of the Kraken have stirred imaginations and fueled maritime myths. Old seafarers spoke of enormous sea creatures that seemed to rise from the depths like mountains. They described terrifying encounters where the sea itself seemed to come alive with the Kraken's fury. These reports, often embellished over time, painted a picture of a creature both awe-inspiring and terrifying. They captured the essence of the primal fear of the unknown that lies beneath the ocean's surface. In the lore surrounding the Kraken, stories are told of entire fleets vanishing without a trace, claimed by the monster's hunger. The beast was not just a symbol of danger but a manifestation of the deep-seated dread of the sea's boundless and mysterious nature. The Kraken represented the ultimate threat from the deep, a force that no sailor could conquer or escape. It was a reminder of how small and vulnerable humanity was against the vast, unpredictable power of the ocean. The Kraken's terrifying presence has not only lived in sailors' tales but has also been immortalized in literature and film. In classic literature, the Kraken often appears as a symbol of the chaotic forces of nature. In Alfred Lord Tennyson's poem The Kraken, the monster is depicted as a creature of primordial darkness, hidden from the world until it emerges to face its final, inevitable end. In the world of film, the Kraken has been brought to life in vivid and often horrifying ways. Movies like Pirates of the Caribbean showcase the Kraken as a colossal and terrifying beast, its tentacles smashing through ships and its roar echoing through the seas. These modern portrayals continue to stir the same primal fear and fascination that the ancient sailors felt, bringing the legend into the contemporary imagination with stunning visual effects and gripping narratives. The Kraken embodies more than just a monstrous sea creature. It symbolizes the fear of the unknown, the uncontrollable power of nature, and the fragility of human endeavors against the vastness of the sea. Its legend resonates with the deep, primal fear that lies in the heart of every sailor and explorer who has ever looked out over the endless, dark waters and wondered what might lurk beneath. In the quiet, enchanted corners of the natural world, where the sunlight dances through leaves and water whispers secrets, there dwell beings of exquisite beauty and magic, the nymphs. These spirits of nature, each one a guardian of a different part of the natural world, are as captivating as they are elusive. Their stories, brimming with wonder and sorrow, touch the heart and stir the soul. Nymphs come in various forms, each tied to a specific element of nature. Water nymphs, or naiads, are the spirits of rivers, springs, and lakes. They are known for their ethereal beauty and their deep connection to the life-giving waters they guard. Forest nymphs, or dryads, are bound to trees, especially oak trees. They embody the spirit of the forest, their presence felt in the rustle of leaves and the quiet shade of the woods. Mountain nymphs, or oreads, inhabit rocky heights and rugged landscapes, their wild, untamed nature reflecting the strength and majesty of the mountains. Each type of nymph represents a different aspect of nature's magic. Water nymphs possess a fluid grace, their movements as gentle and unpredictable as a stream. Forest nymphs are woven into the fabric of the woodland, their lives entwined with the trees they protect. Mountain nymphs, with their rugged beauty, embody the grandeur and solitude of the highlands. Together, they paint a picture of the natural world as a realm of both serenity and wildness, a place where magic and mystery abound. In Greek mythology, nymphs often appear in tales that reveal both their enchanting allure and their tragic fates. One of the most poignant stories involves the nymph Daphne and the god Apollo. Apollo, struck by Cupid's arrow, falls desperately in love with Daphne, who, to escape his advances, pleads with her father to help her. In response, her father transforms her into a laurel tree, forever binding her to the forest. Apollo, heartbroken yet reverent, makes the laurel his sacred tree, a lasting tribute to Daphne's memory and their impossible love. Another famous tale is that of Echo, a nymph cursed by Hera to only repeat the last words spoken to her. Echo falls in love with Narcissus, a youth so captivated by his own reflection that he cannot return her affection. Consumed by sorrow, Echo fades away, leaving only her voice behind in the woods. Narcissus, unable to pull himself away from his own image, eventually perishes, and the flowers that bloom near his final resting place are named Narcissus, a reminder of his vanity and Echo's enduring love. These stories, rich with emotion and drama, show the depth of the nymph's connections to the natural world and to human experience. They remind us that nature is not just a backdrop to our lives, but a living, breathing entity with its own heartaches and joys. The nymph's presence is a testament to the profound and often painful interplay between the human and natural realms. Through their stories, nymphs embody the enchantment and melancholy of the natural world. They are the whispering winds in the forest, the ripples on the water's surface, and the solemn majesty of the mountains. Their legends offer a glimpse into a world where nature and magic intertwine, where beauty and sorrow exist side by side. Each nymph's tale is a reminder of the delicate balance of the natural world and the timeless, mysterious magic that dwells within it. Imagine a world where towering giants, their forms shadowing the land, shape the very fate of humanity. From the icy peaks of ancient Norse myths to the dust-choked plains of biblical tales, giants loom large in the imagination, their colossal presence both awe-inspiring and terrifying. These behemoths, with their immense strength and formidable power, embody nature's raw force and the inevitable clash between the mighty and the small. In Norse mythology, the giants, Jotnar, are not just monsters but primal beings who existed before the gods. One of the most fearsome is Ymir, the first being in the cosmos. Born from the icy void of Ginnungagap and the heat of Muspelheim, Ymir is the progenitor of all giants. His body, upon his death, becomes the world, his flesh forms the earth, his blood the seas, his bones the mountains, and his skull the sky. The gods, including Odin, Thor, and Loki, rise from Ymir's remains, establishing order from chaos. Yet, even in death, Ymir's legacy lives on, his gigantic form a constant reminder of nature's primordial power. In the Bible, giants appear as mighty and imposing figures. Goliath, the Philistine giant, stands as a symbol of overwhelming strength and arrogance. His story, set against the backdrop of ancient warfare, contrasts sharply with the young shepherd David, who, armed with nothing but a sling and faith, faces Goliath. The battle between David and Goliath is not merely a contest of physical prowess, but a struggle between the mighty and the humble, the arrogance of brute strength versus the courage of the seemingly weak. David's victory, achieved through a single, decisive stone, echoes through history as a powerful reminder of how the seemingly insignificant can overcome great challenges. Giants also feature prominently in other cultures, embodying different aspects of fear and wonder. In Greek mythology, the Titans are primordial giants who once ruled the world before being overthrown by the Olympian gods. Their immense size and strength symbolize the old order of chaos, which the new gods, including Zeus and Hera, sought to replace with a more ordered universe. The battle between the Titans and the Olympians, known as the Titanomachy, is a dramatic clash of old versus new, chaos versus order. In various myths, giants represent not only physical power but also natural forces and destruction. They are often depicted as embodiments of the uncontrollable and chaotic aspects of nature. In some stories, giants are forces that bring storms, earthquakes, and floods, reflecting humanity's struggle to understand and cope with the uncontrollable forces of nature. Their presence in myths serves as a powerful reminder of the natural world's grandeur and its potential for destruction. The symbolism of giants is deeply rooted in their role as both creators and destroyers. They are seen as the ancient forces that shape the world and challenge human existence. Their immense size and strength underscore the awe and fear that nature inspires. Giants remind us of the delicate balance between human achievements and the overpowering forces of nature that lie beyond our control. Each tale of giants, whether it's the epic struggle between David and Goliath or the creation myth of Ymir, reflects a deep-seated fascination with the limits of human power and the vast, often daunting forces of nature. Through these stories, giants become more than mere figures of folklore. They are symbols of the grand, unpredictable forces that shape our world and our lives. Their presence in mythology offers a glimpse into the human experience of awe, fear, and the eternal struggle between the great and the small. In the quiet, moonlit nights of Ireland, where the mist weaves through ancient woods, there is a chilling sound that echoes through the stillness, a mournful, wailing cry that sends shivers down the spine. This is the banshee, a spectral figure wrapped in sorrow and foreboding. Her cry is not just a sound, but a harbinger of death, a chilling reminder of the unknown that lies beyond life. The banshee is a ghostly figure from Irish folklore, her presence marked by her haunting wail. She is often described as a woman in a tattered, dark cloak, her face hidden beneath a veil. When she wails, it is said that the sound can pierce through the night, a cry so piercing and sorrowful that it foretells the death of someone close. The banshee's cry is more than a mere noise, it is an omen, a signal that someone will soon leave this world. The banshee's role in Celtic folklore is deeply tied to the themes of death and the unknown. She is not merely a figure of fear, but a symbol of the profound mystery that surrounds the end of life. In the lore, her appearance is both an eerie warning and a solemn acknowledgement of the inevitable. The banshee embodies the transition from life to death, her wail echoing the deep sorrow of those left behind and the uncertainty of what comes next. Stories of the banshee vary, but they often share common elements. In some tales, she is seen as a solitary figure who appears at night, her wail heard only by those who are about to lose someone dear. In other stories, she is part of a larger group, known as the Bean City or Women of the Fairy Mound, who are believed to be spirits of the dead. These banshees wail together, their cries mingling in a chorus of grief that resonates through the ages. One well-known story speaks of a banshee who appears to a family before a loved one's death. The family, upon hearing her mournful wail, understands that their time with their loved one is drawing to a close. Her cry serves as a poignant reminder of the fragile nature of life and the pain of impending loss. The banshee's role in these stories is not to cause harm, but to prepare the living for the sorrow that is to come, giving them a moment to say goodbye and find solace in their grief. The banshee also represents the unknown that lies beyond death. In Celtic folklore, she is a bridge between the living and the dead, her wail a reminder of the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. Her presence serves as a reminder of the inevitability of death and the uncertainty of what follows. Her cry, though chilling and sorrowful, is also a reminder that death is a natural part of life, a transition from the known to the unknown. The banshee's connection to death and the unknown is also reflected in the way she is portrayed in modern culture. In literature, film, and other media, she is often depicted as a spectral figure who haunts the night, her wail a chilling echo of ancient fears and superstitions. Despite her fearsome reputation, she remains a symbol of the profound and often unsettling truths about life and death. The Banshee story is a reminder of the deep emotional impact of folklore and myth. Her wail, though fearsome, carries with it a profound sense of sadness and sorrow. She is not just a figure of horror, but a symbol of the deep, often unspoken emotions that come with loss and the unknown. Her cry is a haunting reminder of the fragile nature of life and the mysteries that lie beyond, echoing through the ages as a chilling and poignant symbol of the human experience. In the world of ancient myths, Creatures with blended forms paint a picture of awe and fear, their very existence a testament to the power of imagination. These hybrid beings, combining traits of different animals, captivate us with their mystery and power. They are not just monsters, they are symbols of the extraordinary. Consider the Minotaur, a beast with the body of a man and the head of a bull. Born from a cursed union and confined to a labyrinth, the Minotaur embodies the struggle between human intellect and raw, primal force. His story is one of isolation and rage, a creature trapped between two worlds. The labyrinth itself, a complex maze, mirrors the confusion and turmoil within him. He is a living nightmare for those who wander too close, symbolizing the chaotic blend of reason and savagery. Then there is the Manticore, a fearsome creature with the body of a lion, the wings of a bat, and a tail that ends in a deadly sting. The Manticore's very presence combines the majesty of the lion with the terror of the scorpion, creating a being that is as magnificent as it is deadly. In legends, it prowls the edges of civilization, a reminder of the dangers that lurk beyond the familiar. Its hybrid form represents the unpredictable nature of fear and the immense power that comes from combining different elements into one fearsome whole. These creatures are not just fantastical, they carry deep symbolic meanings. Combining different animal traits into one being often reflects the merging of opposing forces. It is a way to explore the boundaries of nature and human understanding. Each hybrid creature represents a blend of strengths and weaknesses, showing how power can come from unity but also how it can lead to chaos. The griffin, with the body of a lion and the wings and head of an eagle, is another example of this blend. It symbolizes the merging of earthly and celestial powers, a guardian of divine treasures and secrets. The lion's strength and the eagle's keen sight create a creature that is both majestic and formidable, embodying the balance between power and wisdom. Hybrids in mythology often carry a sense of wonder and danger. Their very nature makes them captivating. They challenge our understanding of the natural world and provoke a mix of fear and fascination. These creatures remind us of the boundaries between the known and the unknown, showing us the power and peril of crossing those boundaries. Stories of these hybrid beings echo through time, their presence a reminder of our fascination with the extraordinary. Whether in ancient texts or modern tales, they continue to capture our imaginations, symbolizing the endless possibilities that arise when different elements come together. The whisper of legends and the shadows of mythical creatures have been weaving through our stories for centuries, and their magic shows no sign of fading. These fantastical beings continue to spark wonder and excitement, reaching far beyond the ancient texts and into the heart of modern culture. Their influence is felt in every corner of our creative lives, from books and paintings to blockbuster movies. Imagine the thrill of encountering a dragon in the pages of a book, its scales glittering with ancient power, or the haunting beauty of a siren song luring sailors to their fate. These mythical creatures, once mere figments of old myths, now dance through our imaginations with a new vitality. They fuel our stories and dreams, their ancient allure rekindled by our modern world. In literature, mythical creatures have evolved from simple legends into complex symbols. Think of the majestic unicorn, once a symbol of purity, now a staple in fantasy novels that explore themes of magic and wonder. Or the menacing vampire, whose story has transformed from a dark legend into a nuanced character grappling with the human condition. Each story breathes new life into these creatures, adapting their ancient myths to reflect our contemporary fears and desires. Art also plays a crucial role in keeping these creatures alive. From the intricate tapestries of medieval Europe to the vibrant illustrations in today's graphic novels, mythical beings are captured with awe-inspiring detail. Artists continue to draw inspiration from these legends, crafting images that bring to life the grandeur and terror of creatures like the griffin or the manticore. Their presence in art bridges the gap between the mythical past and our present, inviting us to marvel at their beauty and mystery. Film and television have turned these ancient beings into icons of modern storytelling. Dragons soar across screens in epic fantasies, their roars echoing the primal power of old myths. The chimeras and manticores of fantasy films are rendered with stunning visual effects, allowing audiences to witness their grandeur and terror in ways previously unimaginable. These creatures captivate our senses, their stories unfolding with breathtaking drama and excitement. Why do these mythical beings continue to captivate us so profoundly? It's their ability to embody the extraordinary and the unknown, to push the boundaries of reality and imagination. They represent the primal fears and dreams of humanity, offering a window into worlds beyond our own. Whether through the pages of a book, the brushstrokes of an artist, or the spectacle of a film, they remind us of the wonders and dangers that lie just beyond the edge of our understanding. In every era, mythical creatures adapt and evolve, reflecting our ever-changing world while holding fast to the ancient magic that first brought them to life. Their legacy is a testament to the power of storytelling, to the ways in which myths can transform and endure, captivating new generations with their timeless allure.